somebody said, by golly, I've got it.
This'll kill him. Yeah.
This'll get him. And then we'll get coverage of this event, which I didn't know what it was. I just knew Kate put her hair up without a hair tie. Hello and welcome to Off With Their Headlines. I am your co-host, Meredith Constant, here with the gorgeous, dewy, soon-to-be newly wed Amanda Matta.
Wow.
I just came up with all of that by myself.
It was really good.
Top of my head.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
2.5 weeks.
I know. I like to remind you every week that this wedding is coming up.
Helping me have a grasp on the passage of time. So thank you for that.
You are incredibly welcome.
How are you? How are you, Meredith?
Doing really, really well. I had a whirlwind of a weekend. I was in NYC. I went in, had a little girls trip with my mom. My best friend is having a baby, so I am having a baby basically.
Mm-hmm.
And no, the Patreon is not allowed to name her baby. So I went to her baby shower, hung out with her, and then I went to the city. I went to the Met Gala. I saw super fine black tailoring, the exhibit, which was fantastic. Definitely recommend it. I saw Death Becomes Her on Broadway with the Megan Hilty. Totally worth it. Worth every single second.
Hell yeah.
Everyone was giving. And then I saw Oh Mary, starring Jinx Monsoon.
I am
and
so
let me
jealous.
tell you something. Whatever you think Oh Mary is about, I knew it was about Mary Todd Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
I understood that it was filthy. Oh boy, howdy. I had no idea what I was in for. It is truly the best 80 or so minutes of your life. So
that's incredible.
I'm exhausted. That was enough traveling for a lifetime, except I have to get on a plane in 2.5 weeks for your wedding. But that I will do gladly.
It's going to be a fun time.
I have the privilege as the only royal reporter invited to your wedding.
Yeah, absolutely. And you get the exclusive on the engagement interview, which I think we're still on to record.
Yes, we are. That's in the calendar. So let's get into it. But housekeeping notes, if you want ad-free early video bonus episodes, go over to patreon.com/offwiththeirheadlines. We have an autumn mailbag, which is now available for you to leave your questions. And we have a lot of good ones, but always room for more. And that is free for anyone who is signed up to our Patreon, whether it's the free level or any of our paid tiers. If you like video, but you're like, I can wait a week to see your faces, you can check us out over on YouTube at Off With Their Headlines.
Absolutely. And we will be opening up some discussions on the free Patreon feed as well this week to talk about the state visit, which is currently happening. Lots to unpack there, which of course will be a main theme of this episode today. But if you would like sort of a running commentary or a place to weigh in as the event unfolds, head over to the Patreon for that as well. And with that, should we just get into it?
Let's get right into it.
We love to start the show with just a bonkers item from the royal news landscape. This week, I didn't know this was happening. So I had to thank the Daily Express. And I believe, Meredith, you pulled an article on the same topic from a different outlet.
We are such twins sometimes.
Independently picked the same article.
The exact nonsense that we know both of us will really relate to.
Yeah. So I'm going to read you this headline from The Express. I think it's the UK. Yeah, it's the UK version, not the US version. Shock announcement as Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to appear in new ABC News show. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are set to feature in a new special program this weekend.
So does this mean Harry was wearing a wire to the coronation?
It's a bombshell.
This is just more material?
That's what they would have you believe very quickly. I think it's easy to figure out that this is not, I would say, a hard-hitting story. Opening paragraph. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are going to feature in a new special program about Disneyland's 70th anniversary. This weekend, the U.S.'s ABC News will release an in-depth feature about the history of the park, which will also include some Hollywood big names who will reveal their fondest memories of it. Some grammar stuff going on there that I don't love. The Happiest Story on Earth, 70 Years of Disneyland, a special edition of 2020, will, with one L, air this Sunday, September 1st. According to People magazine, ABC News wrote in a statement, you couldn't look up the statement yourself? Viewers will hear reflections on childhood visits to the park from some of Disney's biggest fans, including Hollywood's Neil Patrick Harris, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jon Favreau, Patrick Warburton. Funnily enough, I recently saw him on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. He was the uncle of one of the contestants recently, a couple years back.
Sure.
So that's what he's doing now. And Tiffany Haddish, and an exclusive message from Prince Harry and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, on what the park means to them and their family. They visited Disney, of course, earlier this summer with Lilibet and Archie for Princess Lilibet's 4th birthday. Harry can be heard saying in the trailer, "Prepare yourself, you're about to be blown away." Meghan chimed in, "We were just so lucky." The pair was likely referring to June's 2-day visit. I feel let down. I feel duped. I can only imagine this is what the haters that Harry likes to talk about always feel when they get their hopes up for, the divorce that never comes and then they're
Never.
let down. It's like a roller coaster, much like a Disneyland ride, in fact. What was the headline from the piece you sent me?
How did you know that I was just about to say that? We're so good because this one is almost more egregious. This is the Mirror. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to appear in fresh documentary in surprise new move. Surprise new move? They're probably schlepping about, Disney for a couple of minutes. This is not
probably 4 minutes,
maybe. I mean, this is such a nothing burger, but it flies in the face of this idea that Meghan and Harry are not popular and won't make news. You turned a probably very benign, very short appearance in a documentary along with other people to celebrate Disney World into an entire story. And two, it kind of says something that Disney thinks it's a good idea to have Harry and Meghan in this documentary. I mean, for all the discussion that they are so polarizing and nobody likes them, they're not popular, they're included in this documentary. So,
which
I don't know.
I don't know if it necessarily is a documentary. ABC is
Or a
now
special news
owned-
program.
Right. It's being called a documentary. I'm not saying it's you that's wrong in calling that, but ABC News is releasing it. I think ABC is owned by Disney at this point, right?
Everything's a monopoly. There's like 3 organizations that own all of media.
Yes, it's an edition of 2020, but in the most capitalistic way, it is marketing also. So it's really funny to me that the British press is almost falling for it in a way and providing free promo for this segment.
Ridiculous. Because they want people to click on this and think
What are they
all of
saying
those
now?
discussions
Yeah.
about Harry and Meghan secretly recording conversations and saving them for, whatever. Like this, it's led up to this moment. There's never the moment.
No.
It's never going to come because it is all just fantasy world. And there's going to be an article that says something like, ooh,
dig at royal family.
Yeah,
They called it the
Meghan's-
happiest place on earth, not Buckingham Palace, but Disneyland.
Meghan says her favorite palace is Cinderella's. How the queen would feel about that. It's going to be
Right.
something like that because something will be taken out of context. And or kids get to gallivant around Disney while dutiful Charlotte and Louis and George, go on their royal
stuck on a yacht.
engagements. Yeah, they're stuck on these poor super yachts in Greece.
where they can send porters to get ostensibly cheeseburgers at a moment's notice.
I do love that about George.
Do you believe it? I don't think that actually happened.
I don't know what to believe. It does seem a little outrageous. And they don't have a chef on board that can whip up a burger. Give me a break.
He wanted a special dietary item.
A special dietary item. Kills me.
I love that we picked the same article. I love this for everyone except for the British tabloid writers because are you guys okay?
No.
Blink twice.
They
if you
are
need help.
starved. They are starved for anything to write about.
Well, this week, they unfortunately do have plenty of fodder. We have 2 really big visits kind of happening back to back. Last week, Harry did a mini tour. He was in the UK for 4 days and he popped in a few surprises to his itinerary. And then this week, we have President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump on a state visit to the UK. As you're listening to this is the first day of the state visit. It wraps up tomorrow evening.
But first of all, I want to ask you something because I know that
Please.
you are a stickler for wording and for the fact that Kate was wearing 2 different dresses.
So this is true.
There
You
are
know me
things
so
that
well.
Amanda cares about very, very much. A lot of people are calling this an unprecedented second state visit. Is that correct? Because technically, when Donald Trump first visited, Queen Elizabeth was the monarch. Can you break that down? What do you think about the wording here? Is this a
Okay,
second unprecedented state visit?
sure. So actually, I'm going to put the thesis at the beginning of my statement here. Yes, that is accurate for a couple different reasons. So, when we think about Queen Elizabeth entertaining presidents during her reign, she actually only had a few, it was like 3 presidents actually do state visits with her. You can do an informal visit, you can have people come for dinner. That's kind of what most of the presidents during her reign did. Even like JFK and Jackie's visit to the palace, it wasn't a full state visit because that's coordinated with the government. When we talk about a state visit, it's the government has a say in the program, in your speeches. There are ways to entertain heads of state that aren't these big grand state occasions. So there were actually only 3 state visits by presidents during Queen Elizabeth's reign, and they were very recent. It was George W. Bush, Obama, and Trump. Every other visit was not like a fully fledged state occasion. There has been one other head of state who has gotten 2 state visits. That was Queen Margrethe of Denmark. Her first was 1974 and the second was in 2000. But Trump would be the first president to get the red carpet, the state banquet, the official welcome, like all of it, all of the things that go into this program. That's what makes it a state visit. So, yeah, unfortunately, that is
They're
accurate.
doing it.
Yeah, they are
And
doing it.
it's not hard to see why. We know Donald Trump loves the royal family. I mean, he basically tried to decorate the Oval Office like it's Buckingham Palace or something.
Yeah,
Just new spray painted gold
it's
moldings all over
oh,
that place. It
just
is gaudy
wood glued
AF.
onto the
It
doors.
is
It's a lot.
gaudy AF. Someone went to Michael's and had a 20% off coupon
Uh-huh.
and went freaking wild. So Donald Trump lives for this pomp and circumstance. And it seems like the hope is always that he will be more amenable to whatever the government wants to discuss, trade relations, their special relationships, all of that. And that this will be the way that the British royal family wields their soft power. I personally think we are acting like it's just normal times. And
They
it's not.
are they are, but it's flattery. It's treating Donald Trump like the special boy that he thinks he is. I did find some insight into why he is so enthralled with the monarchy,
Oh my God, tell me.
if you don't mind me sharing.
Yes.
In The Art of the Deal, so he admits this, he recalled his mother was Scottish. She loved Queen Elizabeth, and he recalls her watching the coronation, or sometimes she would turn on the TV and be like, "Shush, the queen is on." So she loved the monarchy. His dad was like always in the background being like, "Ah, turn that crap off." So historians have pinpointed this as like he went with his mom's influence here. I think it goes a little bit deeper too. Like, I don't want to diagnose anyone with anything, but I think it's psychological. He once told Piers Morgan when he was meeting the Queen, I was walking up and I was thinking, can you imagine my mother seeing this scene? He's like downright reverential in talking about both his mother and Queen Elizabeth II. He called the Queen so sharp, so wise, so beautiful. And people have picked up on this over the years. Advisors, both in his administration and to the monarchy, have figured out that if you get Trump in the room with a royal, that's the ultimate sign to him that he has made it in life because he's obsessed with status. He sees himself as an outsider, as this populist leader. So getting to be in the room with the monarchy is like the ultimate prize. So that is, I think, what we will see the monarchy playing off of this week. I think there are like 2 prongs to this state visit: the royal aspect, the pomp, the pageantry. And then he's also going to Keir Starmer's country house, Chequers, the prime minister's country residence. They're going to look at Churchill memorabilia together because Trump's also obsessed with Churchill. Do you remember me pointing out the mugshot and his portrait? Like he's
Yep.
doing the Churchill face. So that's a part of it that they've picked up on as well.
It's
So
incredible
as
too because
yeah,
Churchill was famously anti-fascist.
right. It's there's a little bit of cognitive dissonance for sure, but that's why I think it's a little bit like a wink wink to the British. He's a mark a little bit. We are flattering him because we want not just this special relationship to endure, but like we want to get our agenda items passed. And
Well, of course. Yeah.
So
It's so interesting to me that no matter how powerful or famous or rich certain men are, the mommy and daddy issues and just wanting to be loved and
that
hugged.
reminds me, Trump did talk about this as he was leaving the White House. Should we play a clip of what he told reporters waiting outside?
Please, I can't wait.
Well, my relationship is very good with the UK, and Charles, as you know, who's now king, is my friend. And it's the first time this has ever happened where somebody was honored twice, so it's a great honor. And this one's at Windsor. They've never used Windsor Castle for this before. They use Buckingham Palace, and I don't want to say one's better than the other, but they say Windsor Castle is the ultimate, right? So it's going to be nice. But basically, up there also on trade. They want to see if they can refine the trade deal a little bit. We made a deal, and it's a great deal. And I'm into helping them. Our country is doing very well. We've never done this well. They'd like to see if they could get a little bit better deal. So we'll talk to them. But primarily, it's to be with Prince Charles and Camilla. They're friends of mine for a long time, long before he was king. And it's an honor to have him as king. And, you know, I think he represents the country so well. I've watched. He's such an elegant gentleman, and he represents the country so well.
I think that was all one sentence.
I hate it here. Absolutely hate it here.
I also, he called him Prince
Wow.
Charles, so
Big
that was
no-no.
funny. Also,
no-no.
we still don't know how tariffs work.
Still don't. But the other thing that made me laugh is, number one, Buckingham Palace is being refurbished. So
Right.
one of the reasons why maybe you wouldn't have things there. The other thing is they are trying to stay out of London as much as possible because of the planned protests against Donald Trump. I saw something where they erected these almost like these screens and
They're
barriers
like privacy fences, yeah.
to try and just convince Donald Trump that he is beloved in London.
That's the thing. It's like, could be to keep protesters out, but I think it's also to keep Trump happy. And like, you can't see, you don't know, nope, don't look over there. That's not happening.
We always do this. We promise.
Right.
So getting into the itinerary of the trip. First of all, we are recording this on Tuesday, September 16th at 2:24 p.m. Eastern time. So this is what we know as of right now. So we're doing more of a preview. Depending on when you listen to this, it might have come and gone. So here is the schedule. As I said before, Trump will not spend a lot of time in London for obvious reasons. So the big thing is that the public will not get a chance to greet the couple on the first day of their UK state visit. Buckingham Palace recently announced engagements will be held within the grounds of the private Windsor estate instead. So, you know, somebody did tell him, hey, sir, Mr. President, Buckingham Palace is like a dump. You get to go to Windsor.
Isn't that
you
amazing?
Are in. That is the private residence. That is the champagne room, okay? He's like, beautiful, the best. What we know about Tuesday is that there are no public-facing events. This is from the Times UK. Then on Wednesday, the King and the Queen, although who knows about the Queen because Camilla had to bow out of the Duchess of Kent's funeral for acute
sinusitis.
Sure.
Way to lay the groundwork, Camilla. I've done that trick before. You say you're sick the day before the thing you want to skip.
You're like, oh, God, allergies.
I'll be so bummed if I can't go tomorrow to meet the Trumps. But also, Will and Kate. Do you want to keep going on Camilla?
No. You go on Will and Kate.
Will and Kate will be the ones to officially welcome them to Windsor, and then they will drive, ostensibly, I don't know how the royals get around short distances. They will go to Windsor where the King and Queen will receive them. So Will and Kate will actually be the first ones on the ground. They did drag Kate out of her convalescence recovery room. There has been a lot of talk about how this was a last minute decision. It was up in the air whether Kate would come, maybe to like kind of keep Trump entertained is like my conspiracy theory. Like keep him busy worrying about which royals he's going to get a photo op with, and he won't like formulate other plans. That's just like my headcanon here.
Probably. So what they will do is that there will be a royal salute fired from the East Lawn of Windsor Castle and the Tower of London. Tower of London feels like a fitting place. So that's Wednesday, September 17th. And then on the same day, Trump will not have a carriage procession through the streets of Windsor for obvious reasons, but he will have a carriage ride on the private estate because we need to play Boy King. And he will also
It's like,
privately
I'm
lay
sorry,
a
like, who is that for at that point? You can't see the people.
him.
The people can't see. Right. It's just
Do
so
you think they're
funny.
gonna make, like, all the gardeners stand outside and
Yeah, it's
just
like a
cheer
little
him on?
Potemkin village of carriage ride. Like,
It's Marie Antoinette,
yeah.
basically with her little
Uh-huh.
village. That's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing. Yeah, I love it.
Lovely.
I mean, I don't, but yeah.
I know what you mean. So he will privately lay a wreath at the tomb of the late Queen at St. George's Chapel in Windsor. In the evening, Trump and the First Lady will be honored at a state banquet for 160 guests, including celebrities, and members of the royal family at St. George's Hall, where the King and Trump will deliver speeches. The
Yeah.
Trumps will stay overnight in the castle, a privilege afforded to Ronald Reagan, who became the first U.S. president to stay at the royal residence in 1992. Ronald Reagan, the root of most of the evil in the modern world. Again,
For sure.
I'm thinking they just don't want to move him too much because they
Yeah,
don't
probably.
want protesters to potentially interfere with the visit, especially
Yeah.
before they bid farewell to go and see Keir Starmer. But the
Yes.
other thing that is also going to happen is that Melania Trump will first join the Queen if she's not down with the "I'm sick, boo you whore."
Boo, you whore.
Yeah.
She's going to look at a dollhouse with Queen Camilla. You're going to die when you see my notes. This is actually a really cool piece of royal history. Very quirky, very kooky, very Edwardian, right? Queen Mary. It's exactly what you're picturing. It's a giant doll's house with basically replicas of royal collection items, like teeny tiny little books with stamps on them from the royal. It's crazy. It's crazy, and I would love to be in that room, right? Melania Trump will not give a fuck, to use her own words. To use her own words. This is the woman who, remember the hot mic that caught her talking about the Christmas stuff? So I'm
Mhm.
picturing her. This is almost a direct quote. I'm subbing in Dollhouse for Christmas. I'm working my ass off on the dollhouse stuff that, who gives a fuck about the dollhouse stuff and decorations? But I need to do it, right? Okay. And then I do it and I say that I'm working on a dollhouse and planning for the dollhouse. And they said, oh, what about the children that they were separated? Give me a fucking break. That's how I picture Melania being told she's going to look at a dollhouse with Queen Camilla.
Do you think on a hot mic she's going to say to Camilla, "Oh, yes, Donald says that this year children only receive one doll. They don't need 20. It's
This is
because
true.
we're winning. We're winning so hard that,
Maybe
hey,
they
you
only
might
get
just
one
need
doll."
one doll." And Queen Camilla,
She's just like,
can't even imagine.
my sinuses, I need to go.
I love the idea, though, that they're going to take Melania on the most, torturous
Yes.
excursions.
Tedious. Uh-huh.
I'm trying to think of other ones that she would just hate doing.
I mean, the next one is pretty bad. I feel like she will also hate this.
She's definitely going to hate this. The next one is the First Lady will then join Kate at Frogmore Gardens to meet the Dwayne Fields, the chief scout and members of the Scout Squirrels program.
Which I really want to hear her say out loud. Sorry, not sorry.
Why are they called squirrels?
Squirrels. I don't know. It's probably just the rank, like brownies and daisies here.
I'd rather be a brownie.
Yeah, the squirrels. Yeah, they're going to be learning about a nature badge. Fitting for Kate. Go nature.
She loves nature.
This princess's job is nature, and this first lady's job is be best, which I still don't know what that means.
Nope. No ideas.
If it sounds like we're mocking Melania Trump, you're right. We don't like her.
Yeah, no, she's not great. I'm not a fan. So they're going to meet the scouts. That should be terrifying for the children. These poor children. Who made
What is
them?
she going to wear? Oh,
You got to meet Melania Trump. I hope Melania wears that Hamburglar outfit that she wore to the coronation.
I hope it's her body double. I really hope
Me
it's her body
too.
double.
Oh my gosh, the body. Listen, that's a conspiracy that I will play with.
I don't play into most conspiracies with royal women or famous women. Melania has a body double.
There is
sure.
something so weird about some of the, it's just too weird. So as you said earlier, the Princess of Wales will play a key role in the state visit of President Trump.
Which she
So-
didn't really in the first
Yeah.
one. She was kind of absent from all of she was at the state banquet. She got to walk in, I think it was with Mnuchin at the time, but she wasn't in any of the photos with, she wasn't in any
Remember
of the
when
photos
he was
Donald.
the worst thing in the world?
Yeah.
Man, Steve Mnuchin, former Treasury Secretary.
I think that's who it was, yeah. And she wore that white dress with all the ruffles that people don't really mention because I don't think anyone liked it. It was
Boy,
interesting.
I can't believe we weren't served articles about how this was going to start a trend.
We probably were. We're just blocking them out. Yeah, so a return to duties for Kate from her chemotherapy, ostensibly. But I think, again, part of rolling out the red carpet for Trump, because this beautiful princess is coming to honor him. It'll be great. And
She's
she's
not quite young
actually,
enough for him, but
she's actually
ooh,
giving
sorry.
FaceTime with the Trumps, which is new, is all I will say about that.
Yes, yes. Global statesman and all of that. But there's a lot happening in the background, which they also probably want to detract attention from because it implicates both the president and the king's brother. And that
Mhm.
is the Jeffrey Epstein of it all. So recently in the United States, the Epstein 50th birthday bash book was revealed with a number of disgusting messages, illustrations to accused pedophile and sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. The first person to get caught up in this week, and the biggest story I would say related to the UK, is Peter Mandelson.
Mhm.
Peter was, keyword was, the ambassador to the US up until late last week when he was
Mhm.
sacked for Epstein links. In the birthday book, the veteran Labor Party politician had penned a handwritten note describing Epstein as my best pal. To make matters even worse, emails came out between the two that expressed support for his friend and offered to discuss his infamous 2008 Florida case with his political contacts. And even after Epstein was convicted and served a little over a year in jail, he wrote, I think the world of you and I feel hopeless and furious about what has happened. He encouraged Epstein to fight back using Art of War as a guide. So as you can imagine,
Always the favorite text of the
great.
innocent, you know?
So, as you can imagine, nobody wants to think or talk about this because obviously the president is implicated in this book, as well
Yeah.
as Mandelson, who is now gone. And this is an interesting thing where, conservatives in the UK are on top of it because, like, this Labor Party guy. And then it's like, okay, but like, let's talk about conservatives in the book and
Also
your
royals.
and royals and your counterpart in the United States of the Conservative Party, the head of the Conservative Party,
Uh-huh.
Donald Trump. So this is from The Guardian. Quote, both sides will want to move on from Mandelson's departure from Washington, said Michael Martins, a former U.S. official who worked at the embassy during Trump's last state visit. For President Trump, the most important thing will be the optics. He wants to look very presidential. He will make a big deal of meeting with the king and the monarchy more generally. First and foremost, he wants the element of imagery. And
Mhm.
this is where it kind of drives me nuts. Because on the one hand, I understand that if the government tells the British royal family that there's a state visit, they need to participate. This is part of the job, right? And I also understand having to swallow the bile that is entertaining Donald Trump in order to advance UK US relations, although I'm not really sure how often this ends up ultimately working in the long run when you kiss the ring. But
Yeah,
there is
that's
something about the royal family, I don't know, like giving Trump what
courting
he
him,
wants.
essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, playing into the optics of what he wants to create that it just drives me nuts.
I mean, like, I get it, though, because well, from the UK's standpoint, I get it, right? Because they don't really live day to day with the consequences of that imagery and of what that bolstering will do to Trump and to his base. We are living it right here. So I think we are uniquely positioned to understand that. But for them, they're looking at, let's get those 35% tariffs down so our small businesses can continue importing to the US, right? So yeah, I wonder who is the ultimate beneficiary from these optics from this visit. Is it Trump or is it the UK government, King Charles or Keir Starmer?
And it will really play out in how this is reported on, which is going to have a lot to do with the political slants of the newspapers, just like in the United States. And obviously, the other Jeffrey Epstein link that we don't want to think about is Prince Andrew, which
Yes.
I know you sent me an article that was like Prince Andrew spotted hours before Donald Trump or something like that. And it's like, yeah, he lives
He
there.
lives
Like,
at Windsor. Like, yes, he
so
lives there. It's very possible he will get FaceTime with Trump during this visit because, again, it's behind basically the walls of Windsor. They'll both be on the estate. Andrew is another person with connections to Epstein. Of course, he visited Mar-a-Lago also in the year 2000. Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were at the same party. In 2019, though, it was a very different story. He was described as being Buckingham Palace's secret weapon, accompanying the president on 2 of the 3 days. that was only a matter of months before the Newsnight interview kind of blew a hole in that whole story. There have also been some very, I would say, funny protests on the first day of this visit where they're arriving. There was a big banner of the picture of Trump and Epstein unveiled on a big lawn in Windsor. And somebody found in the Windsor gift shop, I presume activists or protesters had placed tat items, ceramic plates, mugs that also had the picture of Trump and Epstein on it. And it said, like,
Oh
in
my
memory of
God.
a really special guy or something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So the UK, they're not happy about this visit. I think I saw a poll asking people in the wake of some of the rhetoric this year that Trump has been promoting, should the visit be canceled? And it was just over 50% said, yes, we should cancel the visit. So Britain is
Very
also very
interesting.
divided right now, which is, I think, also important to note. There will be some excited about this visit, as hard as it is to think about.
And that's the other thing that is going on in the background, is that over the
Right.
weekend, tens of thousands of people rallied in London at Tommy Robinson's far-right Unite the Kingdom event, which was also tied, obviously, to the assassination of right-wing activist agitator Charlie Kirk. And this is, again, another sign of growing nationalism in a lot of developed countries. We're seeing this. And I actually want to go ahead and listen to something that a British commentator told me. Her name is Narinder Kaur. She is a British commentator, broadcaster, author. And here's what she told me about the protest and also this visit with Donald Trump.
The riot was organised by Tommy Robinson, a known criminal and known far-right racist activist. It was a national calling. They put it under the banner of, concerned citizens, concerned about immigration. But if you turned up to that, you're turning up to a Tommy Robinson rally, basically. He's got a history of criminal convictions, history of Islamophobia and racism. Trumpism kind of spills out into our politics and our country. And it gives steam to the far right here. He's coming on a state visit. And I think the problem with the whole monarchy and a second banquet visit is more his links with the Epstein file and his refusal to release them, his own alleged involvement. At the same time, we've just fired Mandelson for his involvement. So there seems to be some hypocrisy.
Yeah,
So
to say the least.
Yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I mean, you can take the hypocrisy line, you can follow that through the entire Trump administration, right? And I think she's absolutely right in saying Trumpism has spilled out into other political arenas. At the Unite the Kingdom rally, you had people like Steve Bannon and Jordan Peterson. Now, just to give a little bit of faith, the figures are estimated between like 110 and 130,000 attendees.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. I've actually seen a couple different numbers.
Yeah. This was the largest right-wing rally in Britain's history, but I will also say earlier this summer, there was a pro-Palestine march that had about 300,000 attendees. So just so you don't lose faith in
That's
humanity.
perspective.
I think
And
that
also,
is perspective.
So there was a counter protest, stand up to racism, that was happening as well. There was violence and 29 people were injured and cops. And it's important to also put into this context that the far right in the UK feels more emboldened because Nigel Farage's Reform Party in the UK is leading the polls right now. For those who don't know, the Reform Party in the UK is a right-wing populist party. It was originally a single-issue Brexit party, but now it has expanded and changed to the Reform UK in 2021. And that whole concerned citizens thing, we have heard that before in the US. Concerned parents about schools, which
for
is
liberty.
Typically a cover for we want basically Christian public educations for our children or to defund public schools. So this is all very connected. And one more point.
Okay, go ahead. And then I have another connection. It's all connected.
Right? And then just one more point in the way all of these people are so connected is that the Margaret Thatcher Foundation, which is this right-wing organization think tank out of the UK, and the Heritage Foundation in the US are very interconnected. So a lot of these people are coming into contact with one another. That guy whose name I can't remember right now, and I'm okay with that always is going after Prince Harry. He is a fellow at Heritage, but was a part of Margaret Thatcher organization. So they just trade back and forth the worst of the worst.
Well, and to connect it back to Trump, he went on Nigel Farage's news show in 2023 ahead of King Charles' coronation. And he said at the time, a lot of people talk about the monarchy. Should you have it? Should you not? I think it's a fantastic thing. It holds your country together largely. And I think that also brings us back to how obsessed he is with the monarchy. We've talked about the fashion in particular being embraced, royal style coming into MAGA style in an interesting way. So yeah, he might be looking at this and thinking the UK is going in the right direction. But
And remember, we had the No Kings protest on Donald Trump's birthday in the United States, as well as some counter protesting against the trooping of the color in the UK. So all these things are
it's an
tied together.
interesting soup
Oh, that's
of
special relationship.
absolutely right. Okay. Well, another special relationship, Prince Harry and his dad. That's been on everyone's mind this week. Did you see what I did there?
I did. Your transitions are mwah.
They're getting better, I will say. I'm
They
not
are.
always as quick on the uptake as you are. Harry was in the UK last week for a 4-day visit. This was his first visit that we know of since April, when he lost the court hearing related to his appeal over the removal of his official security. So he was doing this visit as a private individual, but also in connection with a lot of his patronages that he has kept since stepping back from official royal duties. Do you want to go through a timeline of the visit really quick?
Let's go through a timeline. But first of all, overall impressions, Amanda, of this trip.
He nailed it. Knocked it out of the park. Yeah.
Nailed it. This was a 10 across the board.
So
the
good.
rollout by his PR team of announcements and funding,
the coverage, the pictures,
the Ukraine trip staying very under wraps until it was time to
the interview at the end.
Interview with the Guardian. This trip,
I don't think it could have gone
was
better.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I would be very concerned.
And we're not saying that because
if I were members of the royal family right now. I would be.
For sure.
I would be.
And we're not saying that because we love Harry. We're just saying, like, in terms of what you want from optics, what you want of coverage, 10 out of 10. Like, this could not have gone better for him.
Harry just looks better with children.
He just looks better.
No, I didn't mean like that. But when he's engaging with kids, he is so natural, and you can tell he loves it so much. There is something that
he just
you
has
capture about Prince Harry that you also captured in Princess Diana.
Yeah, this was a topic also on morning shows in the UK this week. I heard several commentators being like, he looks good, can't lie. Like, and they would connect it to Will and Kate, be like, I think it was Amanda Platel. She called them boring.
I know, which is after
an opinion piece.
Which is after her disgusting opinion
a
piece
scathing piece about Harry, right? So, I'm not saying the pendulum is swinging back the other way, but it is illuminating to remember the media always has to have like some contrarian opinion to push out and like some talking point, some soundbite. This was the one that they seized on after this Harry visit. But let's get into what he actually did, and you can be the judge. So he landed in the UK on Monday, the 8th, which was the 3rd anniversary of the death of his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. He did travel to Windsor privately to visit her gravesite and lay a wreath of flowers. We had pictures 2 years ago on the 1st anniversary of him doing the same thing, because the Well Child Awards, which is his main reason for going over at this time, that's pretty much on the same day every year.
The number of people that tried to make it sound like, oh, he just happened to be here. Yeah, this is when a lot of nonprofits hold their galas.
This is when royal
this
season starts also.
Yeah.
This is when people wanted to say, I mean, I do think there is something to the argument of, Will and Kate baking in appearances for when Harry's in town. Like, yeah, I think we can talk about that. But also this time of year every year is when these engagements start picking up again, because we are back from holiday, the school year, blah, blah, blah. So it's, again, there's a soup being made here. It's not just one reason or another.
Delicious soup.
I don't know how delicious it would be.
Maybe
if it's
not.
Made up of
it's more like it's made by the, what's her name from Sweeney Todd?
Mrs. Lovett.
There we go.
Yeah. I'm with you. At the time, a source started talking to the media. It was people that got a lot of the quotes. They said, Harry's in a really good headspace, looking forward to seeing everyone from his charities and the causes he cares about. Those causes included Well Child, which has awards every year. This was the 20th annual Well Child Awards. So Harry attended in his role as patron, which he has occupied since 2007. He's been to these awards 14 other times. So again, it's not a new thing. It's not like he's trying to one up the royals, that he does this every year. The Well Child organization supports seriously ill children and their families, and the awards honor their courage and its awareness, and it's a fundraiser. So Harry gave a speech. He also interacts with the children, and this year that included a sword fight with balloons, and he was making like lightsaber noises, and it was very cute in the
It
video.
was, I mean, the
He just
optics
has
are
it.
great. And this is
Yeah.
a man who is enjoying himself, because I
Mm.
think what we've seen this year is where Meghan and Harry really thrive. And for Harry, it's really leaning into public service.
Yeah, and as he said, service is universal. You don't have to be a working member of the royal family in order to embark on this type of public service. And I think that was like a through line of this
Yes.
visit. So the next day, September 9th, he was in Nottingham, where he announced he had previously made a substantial personal donation of £1.1 million or $1.5 million to BBC's Children in Need organization. So that is a fundraiser and a telethon. He was attending an event at a community recording studio with local grassroots organizations, social action groups, and charities, as well as, again, funders. A lot of this had fundraising baked in. And as somebody from the nonprofit world, you cannot underestimate having a star at one of these fundraising events will bring in funds. Like, so he knows that about his own star power as well, like how to
And that
leverage that.
And that's one of the reasons that you announce how much you donated, because
Uh-huh.
it is to encourage people to step up, which was in his speech. So some of those same morning shows that were trying to get on him about, oh, we don't do splashy announcements like that.
Give me a
What are
break.
you talking about? First of all, we
Well,
do. And second
yeah,
of all,
seriously.
this encourages fundraising.
Yes.
This is a big deal. And
And he,
I think the BBC as well
yes,
maybe matched some funding, or had a substantial
they had 300,000
donation as well.
pounds. Yep,
Yes.
that were also matched or leveraged alongside his donation. So he was announcing it in tandem with that to kind of, again, dangle a little carrot, right? Like, you can be part of this too. So yeah, that was Tuesday. Then Wednesday, he was back in London. He attended an outing at Imperial College London's Centre for Blast Injury Studies, which he opened their new laboratories back in 2013, and he attended a conference there in 2019. So again, a cause that he has worked with before. He had a lab tour. He participated in a roundtable discussion on efforts focused on mental health and medical evacuation in conflict sites. And there was another donation announced. This time it was £500,000 from Archwell in connection to both Harry and Meghan. So not their private money. The Nottingham donation was his personal money, but this one was kind of funneled through the foundation. So that was going to support 3 organizations specifically earmarked towards children in Ukraine and Gaza.
And I will say, when we saw this announcement come out, because they released it via the Sussex's website,
Again, stellar press release.
great press release, to the point, laid out exactly who we want to help, why we want to help, why it's so important, community coming together. We can't all solve this alone. It takes a joint effort. But as far as I can tell or remember, this is the first time we've really seen action when it comes to Gaza.
Yeah, they have supported World Central Kitchen, which in turn
Yes.
has supported in Gaza. But like,
This
when
is
I say
specific.
it's the first time Harry and Meghan directly have talked about Gaza.
Was implicit. This is saying,
Right.
no, I am discussing Ukrainian children
Yeah.
and children in Gaza
Yes.
and the humanitarian crisis that's happening there. And I have to say, good, more of that, please.
And nobody really had an issue with it that I saw, that, Harry's
No.
sticking his nose in political issues. I think at this point, the tide has turned that we can recognize it's a humanitarian crisis if we're not completely craven and soulless. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene said it's a humanitarian crisis. Okay. Like, I don't know what we're doing.
When
if
you
we're
got
ignoring it.
Marjorie, come on.
Right. That's when
also
I wrote
think-
to my reps. I was like, listen, Scott Perry, you craven individual. If Marjorie
Come
Taylor
on.
Greene can say this, like, what are you doing? So anyway, I'm
step
still
up.
waiting for a response.
Keep waiting. Also, this news was overshadowed very quickly with
So
the
funny.
arrival of Prince Harry at Clarence House.
Well, no. First, we got a
JK.
play-by-play. First, we got a play-by-play of King Charles leaving Balmoral, where he was staying in Scotland, And it reminded me, unfortunately, of when Queen Elizabeth's casket left Scotland and was driven back to London. Like, we had the play-by-play and the pictures and the aerial coverage. The same thing was happening to Charles going back to London because people were like, oh, Harry's in London. Are they going to meet? Spoiler, yes. But we did get like 6 hours of minute-by-minute plane, automobile. I'm surprised there wasn't a train in the middle.
No, well, the royal train is decommissioned. It's going to save all that money.
Right.
But Amanda, do you think this plays into our theory that back in July, when Prince Harry's aides and King Charles' aides met for a private peace summit, which just happened to be near Clarence House
outdoors.
and on a terrace outdoors, and paparazzi were around, do we think this might have been part of the reconciliation planning? Because presumably at that point, Harry would have known he was going to be in the UK in September.
Absolutely, because it's not just as easy as, Harry turning up, ringing doorbells until he finds the right house. I'm sorry, Harry, but what was that?
That was so weird.
It was so weird. You have to find a date that works for both sides. You have to make sure that everyone understands, like, what we will and won't talk about. Like, remember, Charles doesn't have a cell phone. Harry does not communicate directly with his dad. It's all funneled through staffers. So
this is not a normal family hang. This is not you show up at your dad's place, he has leftovers, you're sitting down watching TV. This is afternoon tea scheduled with your father.
You have 55 minutes. That 5-minute buffer is very important to get out.
Well, and also Harry had another event that night because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, I can't believe Charles wouldn't spend more time with his son." I can. This is just how this family works.
Charles
and Harry
also
had a tight schedule.
I think he was also receiving ambassadors or other dignitaries at Clarence House because there were pictures of him doing that. And I was like, oh, so he is at Clarence House. And then the Harry event came out. But it also, the Meredith Mains meeting in London kind of also makes sense to me in the context of Harry's last visit with his father, which was 19 months ago. Very specific. Thank you, British press. I wouldn't have known that. When he flew to London after the announcement of King Charles' cancer, because apparently no one told him beforehand. And the reports at the time were King Charles is aghast that he would do this and that he cares so much. And like, he was really taken aback and kind of offended that Harry would like expect him to drop everything to talk to him. And so now I'm like, well, is the side effect of that episode, now we need to funnel meetings between father and son through this peace summit talk. Like,
also,
before
I
we
can't
can get
imagine why the child traumatized by his mother's death at a young age to the extent where he thought she was just hiding. I wonder why this child, now man, would have such a deep-seated need to see his father after it's announced that he has cancer and no one thought to update his youngest son.
King Charles go to actual
Frickin'
therapy
family.
challenge. Yeah, so they did reunite over tea. Both sides have said we're not going to tell what went on in the meeting. Although I think Buckingham Palace's like briefing said like the Duke has also agreed not to share details. So it's like, okay, like throw shade. Why don't you?
It's always the detail off because, oh, gosh, Harry will just go spilling all the secrets.
It's
like,
well,
no. If Harry wanted to spill secrets, Spare would have been a very different book.
Yeah. So I don't think there's any real use in speculating on what they discussed until we know more about, are they going to see each other again? I think that would be the next step. Is there an open channel of communication? I think we will find that out if there is. I think you can't keep these palace sources quiet for long, right?
No, there's going to be a source close to that we're going to see in some article.
Yeah. So shortly after this reunion, Harry jetted over to the Gherkin in London. The tube strike did slow him down, but he got there a little late to this this event for Friends of the Invictus Games Foundation. At this time, a reporter asked him how his father was doing, and this is the only detail he shared. Yes, he's great. Thank you. I'm surprised we haven't seen headlines like Harry breaches confidentiality. Yeah. I thought this was really smart engagement sandwiching, working in this cause you want to highlight after the meeting with your dad, because again, it's fundraising. Having been in this room with Prince Edward, seeing how this works, I can only imagine
Rub it
with
in.
Prince Harry. I'm sorry.
Just kidding. I'm kidding.
I can only imagine with someone like Harry, though, like if the Riz with Prince Edward is off the charts, like Harry's is in the stratosphere, right?
Cannot even imagine.
So he met with supporters, partners, and community members as the Invictus movement enters its second decade. So he was openly fundraising. He joked in his speech. I think this whole thing has been delayed slightly. So at this point, you're all hammered, which was part of the plan all along, stuck up here at the top of the gherkin. So he's like basically saying, like, good, you're drunk. You'll give us more money. Because the Invictus Games, I think he still views it as a growing movement. It is in its, I think, 11th year, 10th year. Many more countries are trying to join. We have the games coming to Birmingham in 2 years. There's already speculation on, of course, whether Harry will be there, whether Meghan will be there, and whether the royals will attend. The CEO of the Invictus Games Birmingham said over the summer that she would be delighted if Harry and Meghan came over for the games, but we're so far out, it's impossible for anyone to confirm their plans. She said the same thing when asked. She was kind of pressed on whether the royals would come. She said, again, we're 2 years away and it's too soon to confirm who's going to be there. But obviously, we'd be delighted if members of the royal family were able to attend and would very much welcome their presence.
Good PR answer.
It really is. Harry's not done yet. On September 11th, Thursday, he attends an event for the Diana Award. That's one of the few causes that both Harry and William support together, despite their estrangement. This is an award that honors young people making a difference in their communities around the world. So this was supposed to be his last engagement.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, I know. Spokespeople were sharing with the media that Harry enjoyed his time in England, catching up with old friends, colleagues, and just generally being able to support the incredible work of the causes that mean so much to him. But when we woke up on Friday, September 12th, Harry was getting off a train in Kyiv. He made an unannounced surprise visit to Ukraine. I think you have to leave those visits unannounced for security reasons. But also in this case, we learned through an interview he gave to The Guardian that he had to check with first his wife and then the British government to make sure it was okay to visit Ukraine. And then he told them the official invitation came from the Ukrainian government. So that's the proper order, is kind of all I have to say there of people to consult.
Yeah, I mean, this was, again, for security reasons, it makes sense. I saw a very stupid article about, oh, Prince Harry's so worried about security, but he'll go to Ukraine, which is a war-torn country.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was an overnight train. He spent, what did you say, maybe 16 hours there?
Maybe
total?
12, 16 hours, yeah.
Maybe, and then got out. This is how you do these kind of trips. It is interesting, though, that we are letting more reporters into the fold in a different way. We're letting The Guardian in. Again, we can be choosy, though.
Yes.
Choosy moms choose Jif and not the Daily Mail to accompany them to Ukraine and talk to people that we know will get the story out there that we want to tell. And I think...
Can I just say, though, what a power move it would be to, like, invite Rebecca English to be the one to come along with you to Ukraine. Like, you're kind of forcing her hand in that instance to, like, write the coverage a certain way. I think that would be really funny. Harry, you have the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever.
Very funny. So Prince Harry spoke to The Guardian, as we talked about, over his trip to the Ukraine. And he said, quote, "We cannot stop the war, but what we can do is everything we can to help the recovery process. We can continue to humanize the people involved in this war and what they are going through. We have to keep it in the forefront of people's minds." Again, his message is getting out there, and I cannot stop thinking about the royal appointment from around the time, I think, of the Sussex's Colombia trip, where the argument was made, how can you spotlight these causes without inviting the British media? How will you ever get information? You're hurting your causes. No, because there was only The Guardian, we have that reporting and exactly what Harry wants out there, but also what should be out there. It's not, you'll never guess what Harry ate on the train, or the 5 words Harry said to Meghan, or lapdog. Prince Harry can't go to the Ukraine without mommy Meghan's approval.
Harry puts his hair in a bun without a hair tie.
We'll get to that.
Teaser. So yeah, I thought it was good. It was good journalism. It wasn't a puff piece. It wasn't just blowing smoke up Harry's ass. The Guardian, in their little preamble, they write, "The Guardian accompanies him on the journey to the capital, something of a gamble for both sides, as Harry noted. He is suspicious of the media, and the Guardian has long been critical of the monarchy," which I think is interesting because Harry's not necessarily affiliated with the monarchy anymore, but he does consider himself a monarchist.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like, he's kind of, sometimes Harry and Meghan are positioned as these anti-monarchist heroes when they're not.
Yeah.
They were totally willing and ready to serve the crown and work within the system, but the system would not work with them.
And it doesn't work for me. Like, I know there are Sussex fans who are upset about this reporting, and the fact that Harry, like, is kind of modeling the royal work in this way. But, like, I just feel if you want to be able to tell people, no, Harry didn't attack the monarchy in his interviews, in his documentary, in his book. He was raising good points. Like, you then also can't be mad if he carries that "I'm not attacking the monarchy" sentiment into other aspects of his personal life and of his work life. Like, we don't know if he wants to start amping up these engagements, do more of them, or even maybe come back as a part-time role. We don't know. Like, that could happen. I see a world where that happens. So anyway, I like when we can look at the situation in front of us and just present it objectively. And I think that's what this Guardian interview did. They write over the next 36 hours. Okay. We learn a lot, probably the trip included,
Yeah,
like, 'cause
maybe
they're
the train
on the
ride
train
back
with him.
too. Yep.
We learn a lot, big and small, about this complex, conflicted man. He doesn't like posing for staged photographs, and he doesn't like cycling. Quote, "I have a bony ass." He likes to box to relieve his frustration. Quote, "Hitting the hell out of a bag," he says, helps him to decompress. So I think this was really well written in presenting, like, where this conversation is coming from. So while he was in Ukraine, he had a packed schedule. He met with Ukraine's Minister for Veterans Affairs, Natalia Kalmakova. He discussed with her how the Invictus Games Foundation can expand long-term support for Ukraine's veterans. And The Guardian notes that with more than 150,000 seriously wounded, the need is urgent. And Harry's team has pledged to make Ukraine a focus in the years ahead. I think that's important, as Zelensky, part of his platforming right now is trying to get into NATO.
Yep. And also, we don't know where Harry was for about an hour during this trip.
Yes, I find that very interesting. The Guardian writes, after a later visit, the prince disappears. His car heads off away from the convoy for about an hour, and when he returns to the group, he is coy and tight-lipped. The suspicion is that he has gone to meet Volodymyr Zelensky, but neither he nor the president wants to admit it. Zelensky is a champion of the Invictus Games and has made it known he wanted to meet the prince. The British government has made it known to Zelensky it would rather he did not. That was the chat in diplomatic circles, at least. The theory was that giving the rebel royal a platform might not be smart politics on a day that Britain's new Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper, was also in town. But only one Briton is making any headlines in Ukraine on Friday.
Snap.
Yeah.
So that is super
it's
interesting.
I mean, I believe it. I believe they would have met. And even if it is only in the context of Veterans Affairs, the optics of that meeting, I get why the British government would be suspicious of that. Or not suspicious, but hesitant to have that be the story of the day.
And on top of that, Donald Trump coming into town, and the way the U.S., some in the U.S., there's a fractured sentiment around Ukraine. And, again, very wild how we went from anti-communist to what if the Republican Party's pro-Russian? Very interesting. But I would say if Prince Harry can meet with his father for 55 minutes, he can meet for an hour with Zelensky.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it. The British government would beg to differ. He did openly have a separate private meeting with Ukraine's Prime Minister, Yuly Sviridenko. I'm really sorry. In that, he reiterated his personal commitment to the entire Invictus community and demonstrated that his engagement with their cause extends well beyond a single visit. Then he was off to a fundraising lunch. He joined a discussion alongside Invictus Team Ukraine's captain, as well as some foundation officials. So they're kind of focusing this visit on seriously wounded Ukrainian servicemen and servicewomen. There's also kind of a need for rehabilitation in Ukraine as the war continues. Harry was spotlighting a center called Superhumans is opening 5 new rehabilitation centers. And then to wrap up the visit, he stopped to pay respects at a memorial for Ukrainian and foreign soldiers at Independence Square in Kiev.
If you wanted to do a trip that you really didn't want to make it seem political and you wanted to focus on the humanitarian aid, Harry's entire Ukraine visit did that exquisitely. And it is so important, I think, to Harry and to the people of the UK that despite what the British media might say, Harry has not turned his back on his people, on causes he cares about. He is still very much invested and investing his money where his mouth is.
Definitely.
And I just think this was done beautifully. We started to see coverage, of course, of the Prince William spin. And what I always do is I look at what Roya Nika is going to say for the Sunday Times. She is the royal editor in the Royal Rota, and she tends to have the Wales connection. So if you kind of want to know what they want to put out there, that's who you turn to.
Even though, like, this story is not about you, William. Like, this play is not about you.
No.
But he needs to, like, insert. Yeah.
But he must. So, of course, this has to move the goalpost. And, a brief reunion with King Charles is superficially good for the firm. In what ways it's superficial? I don't know. But the true test is whether the two brothers can ever reconcile. Of course, the onus is put on Harry and our favorite phrase, the olive branch, which you would think it's been done. It's been brought in. Oh, no. It is an olive branch wrapped in a test. Because the test is, will Harry spill the beans to the press? Which so far, no question about what would happen if Buckingham Palace did that. But again, this whole thing is, we get Charles as king, but really Prince William, the future king, is the true test. And we get a quote from a close friend of William's, which I think if we are getting a quote from a close friend of William's in this kind of piece, they have been okayed to speak to Roya for this. What the source says essentially is that William still feels like his trust and his loyalty has been broken, and he doesn't know if he can ever overcome that. I mean, no discussion about the loyalty to Harry or trust between the brothers. It only goes one way.
The behavior that led Harry to feel like he had no recourse but to talk about it openly and hope that things would improve.
Eventually, the only way the British media can talk about this is either admitting that it looks really bad for the elder global statesman to not be able to reconcile with his own brother, or two.
That's true. Like, if you can't even be friendly with your own brother, you can't solve the Middle East crisis, which William also once said was his
homelessness.
life's work. Yeah.
If you can sit and pal around with Donald Trump, I think you can make up with your brother. And look, your father's done it. Your father's meeting with him. So what's going on here? Otherwise, you have to keep making up these excuses of William is, he's just being steadfast and he's not letting emotions guide him. But I think it comes off as cold. And I don't care what any polls say. Prince Harry is clearly popular. People clearly like Prince Harry. He performs well when he is on these engagements. And actually, that's a reason why I don't know if he'll ever come back as a working royal when William.
Oh, because he's still too popular.
I don't think William and Kate.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
it has
see
to
that
be
coverage
under his dad. Yeah.
Because they see that coverage and they still see it as a negative, which is why on the anniversary of Queen Elizabeth's death, you don't just send Williams to the women's center or whatever. Kate,
such a weird choice. Yeah.
Right? Why didn't you send Kate out? And that is a clear grab to take headlines away from Harry, because it's still seen as a competition, just like it was when Harry was a part of the royal family.
Yeah, I do think they view it, in that competitive way. One more thing I pulled from the Guardian article. They did apparently ask him a little bit about whether he wants to spend more time in the UK, and he said yes. They also asked, does he regret putting his side of the story in the very public way that he has? No, he doesn't. Quote, my conscience is clear. And this is after he's met with King Charles. So that's there to chew on if you need a little chew toy for the week. Have you seen the videos of Daisy, the dog who gets a greenie every night?
Sorry. Oh my God, don't tell my dog Daisy.
I'm going to send it to you. She's a star. Her family plays her a piano song. Like, there's a whole song about it's time to get your greenie. And she's Pavloved into associating this song with getting her greenie. So it's adorable. I'll send it to you. Anyway, this little bit of the article was my greenie. Okay. So before we wrap up with what was that article? I do want to just note again, over on Patreon, we will have free discussions for the state visit this week. So head over there if you would like to weigh in, get the 411. I'm sure there will be people updating, and we will try to update as well as new things happen. Chief on my mind is what Tiara Kate is going to pull out for the state visit. If she's really savvy about this and wanting to dazzle Trump, it'll be something she hasn't worn before, but probably not, because I don't think she can be bothered.
I think it's going to be a tried and true.
Yeah.
Do you think we get a dress rewear so we can go with the whole, Kate saving money?
I think it's a new dress.
You think it's a new dress for the occasion?
That's what she's doing right now. Yeah, for sure. So anyway, that discussion will
continue
also over on Patreon this week.
The shaman documentary, we do have to start a conversation about that, because I just realized it drops today, and I'm a very happy girl because I cannot wait to watch that shit.
Is
So
it a
we'll
series
have to discuss
or
that.
a
I
standalone?
don't know. I'll have to look into it, but either way, we should
Okay.
have a discussion for it because it's probably
Yeah.
going to be bananas.
Sure. Yeah. The trailer itself was bananas. So yes, we will start a separate discussion thread if you would like to discuss
Mass
or
discussion.
yes, the Marta Louise and Shaman Durek documentary on Netflix. Okay. If you're like us, your feed was littered last week with Kate doing engagements, yes, but also her hair. Not the new styling, not the new color. She, get this, Meredith, put it in a bun without a hair tie, a clip,
What?
nary a bobby pin in sight.
Whoa. Amanda, she put long hair on its own
Uh-huh.
into a bun?
So not only were there videos, not only were there snide captions on social media, it's really like owning the libs coded. Like this'll show all the haters speculating she had extensions and whatever.
The Daily Mail headline and subhead is destroying my life right now.
Read it, please.
Headline: Kate ties her hair back. The subhead: How does she do it? Kate Middleton leaves everyone stunned
Okay.
as she ties her hair up without, that is all capitalized, a tie.
I wasn't planning on this, but should we give the video watchers some content?
I was wondering if you were gonna do. Are you gonna do it?
So like my hair's not long, but I think I can do it.
Amanda's hair is it's past her shoulders, but
really thin and really fine. I bet I can do it right now. Hold.
okay, let's see if you can do it.
You gotta like get it into a low pony.
I feel like I need like to watch a video though. I feel like
No, you just twist it. So you twist it. Okay. Don't look at my ends.
Okay.
And then you pull. You like twist it around your other hand, and you grab the little end, and you just pull it through.
But I think I messed it up. I think I pulled at the wrong.
So I can do it, but my hair is not quite long enough. So it's there.
How does she do it? I messed up the hand part, but my hair is long enough to do this. I can feel it.
So
I just
it
need to
takes
pull
some
it all the way.
finessing.
Look.
You did it.
Look.
Yeah.
How does Meredith do it?
Okay. Did we really need the headlines on this?
Where is my article? When is it going to be
on.
my moment in the spotlight, Kate?
No, you don't want that. They already wrote
Maybe
an article
this time
about you.
I'll win.
I don't know what else to say about this.
I'm gonna say something that's
doing?
gonna make people really sad. Number one, you can do that and have hair extensions. I'm gonna tell you that much.
Yeah.
Number two, you can have hair extensions that you only put in for special events. This doesn't prove shit.
No, but
It doesn't
I
prove
did
shit.
I kind of liked it for Kate. It was a little cheeky. Like, if you're going to talk about my hair, here's something to talk about.
Do you think they okay? This visit, they must have considered if she needed to have her hair back.
Yeah, it was to two different silk facilities. There was a silk mill, I think, that has been owned by the same family for generations, and then the silk printing. It was a really cool day of engagements. I question why we did it now, other than that we needed to pad the schedule, right? You would have probably known, like, okay, she's going to get in there. She's going to get her hands dirty. No one thought to bring a hair tie, really?
Somebody said,
Here,
by
Kate,
golly, I've got
this'll kill him. Yeah.
This'll get him. And then we'll get coverage of this event, which I didn't know what it was. I just knew Kate put her hair up without a hair tie. Now, may I read some of the as seen in the comments?
Yes, please.
Because they're great. Okay.
These are comments. I thought these were you. Okay, hang on.
No.
I'll move mine down. Okay, go for it.
Wow. What millions of mere mortals do on the daily. She's going to try and learn how to tie her shoelaces next. Nice that she has always been athletic. Field hockey, tennis, netball, rowing, amongst other things. Seems to be a genuinely good-natured person. I don't know what Kate putting her hair back without a hair tie has to do with her character.
Was it because she was wearing a t-shirt? Like, she was also wearing a black t-shirt in that
She's
engagement?
athletic because she can put her hair back? Sure. Listen, if you don't have good mobility, you have a frozen shoulder, you're not going to be able to do
That's
that.
true.
So sure.
That's true. I do a lot of they call it shoulder flossing during my yoga because I have really tight shoulders. And sure, that could be difficult for me on the fly. Absolutely. Okay.
For goodness sake, she has hardly split the atom. Anyone with long hair does this all the time. Why is this even news? Same girl. And then finally, what has become of my life? That is too deep of a question for the Daily Mail comment section. Is this article really titled Kate Ties Her Hair Back? It is. Fair reader, it is.
I will take what I can get because I remember the love taps. I remember the festive glance. I remember a time not too long ago when we were talking about how daintily Kate sneezed. So,
Oh my God, I forgot about the sneeze. Honestly, I would have loved if she went an all out, like you're like you get your face where you're
that's how
trying
Shane
not
sneezes.
to sneeze.
It's
He does.
very loud. It's very loud.
I love
He's
it.
got
Listen, you're
lungs.
supposed to let them out.
Yeah, I guess. That's all I got.
That is all for this jam-packed episode. Remember, we are over on Patreon. You can get us, you can get us ad-free. You can get bonus content, videos, early episodes. If you want to wait a week for videos, you can do that over on YouTube. And if you want a shout out, we have 2 tiers for that. First of all, we must thank our Patreon press secretaries, Molly, Nikki, Lulu, and Jessica. You would never let us go out without a hair tie. Number 1.
You would erect privacy fences if you wanted to keep us from seeing protesters. That I know for sure. So thank you for your service.
Without a doubt. And you would make sure that our scheduled tea was at least an hour and a half, because how are you going to get through all those dainty little sandwiches, scones, and little treats? So I do
I wonder
appreciate
if they
that
each
about
had
you.
their own tower, if they shared a tower. That's the real diplomacy question I want to know.
Yes, because I guess it depends on how big the table was. Anyway. And of course, our crown jewel, the apple of my eye, the baby's breath of my baby's breath, Sir Christopher. Thank you guys so much for all your support, and to everyone out there. I love you.
That's all for this week. I'm sure we will have much more to break down next weekend beyond, as we're not in Royal Silly season anymore. We are in Royal God, what is happening? There's so much going on season. Until next time, Meredith and Amanda out. I don't know.
See ya.
Stay classy, San Diego.